Hey guys, Kyle, the Death Knight of Anime here, bringing you my review for One Piece chapter 996. Yeah, I'm pretty much sorry that this one is as late as it is, guys. It's just one of those things where when I pretty much learned that the chapter had come out, it was late into like Friday or something like that, and I said, you know what, I'm just gonna do it on the same day that I'm gonna do the One Piece anime review. So yeah, it just seemed easier that way. But with that said, yeah, okay. So first thing to say is, I guess is so first thing to say, I guess, is that following up from last week's chapter, we see that the only ones Tama brought with her are the monkey and the dog, which in itself is a nice callback to the very beginning of the arc. But at the same time, I do think there still was a little bit of a missed opportunity for her to bring an entire army of animals with her. That said, one little detail that's revealed about how Tama got here has some very interesting implications to kind of discuss. Because while her whole line about her riding on an enemy ship could just mean she from stole it, neither would I be surprised, honestly, if what Tama did is she surrendered, and then only after making it on board with her two animal friends did she basically feed them her dongo to take control of the ship. I'm just imagining that possibility ahead, and it is ingeniously hilarious if it's true. Like, it would make so it would honestly make so much sense that it would make so much sense in terms of Tama, like in order to act, actually, in order to actually, in order to actually pretty much outsmart the Beast Pirates, because the Beast Pirates, as we know, have been looking to capture her for her power. So it makes sense that she would let herself be captured, and then after that, pretty much turn the tables. So yeah, I'm kind of as weird as it is, I'm kind of imagining that to be the kind of scenario that played out in shit it's played out right now. Um, and but yeah, jumping straight into the big stuff, we get a huge chunk of character progression on Law's part in this chapter, where we learn through flashback that he's informed Robin that he, like Luffy, is one who carries who basically who pretty much carries the pretty much legacy of D. And in the present, we learn he's basically committed himself to finding out the truth behind the checkered past of those who pretty much carry that single letter in their name, which is not only a nice carryover from the progression we basically got in Dressrosa, but with Law's commitment now affirmed, I am really excited, but also afraid to see how Robin and Law's work with each other from this point going forward plays out. Because I feel together they can. I feel together they can not only do what Rayleigh talked about, which is come up with an entirely different conclusion about the Void Century and the D than the one the Roger Pirates had come up with at the time, but at the same time, Law at this point almost seems like he pretty much wants he pretty much what Law seems to want to do is he wants to save the entire legacy from future persecution, which like that kind of seems to be his end game goal right now. If I'm judging the room correctly, is that Law he's basically tired of the persecution that from those who have the D in their name have suffered, and he himself he does kind of have precedent in order to believe in that persecution, because he himself basically suffered persecution himself, because, well, indirectly, but still because of what happened in his home country of basically of tolerance. So yeah, there is precedence for him wanting to save the legacy of D from its persecution. And now the thing is where but the thing is about this, going to Law and Robin going down this route, it is going to lead this duo down a very dark rabbit hole, and I feel whatever this leads to will be the turning point for this alliance. Because with Law and Robin pursuing this secretly, it'll put Robin in even more danger than ever before. And if she gets kidnapped, Luffy will have reason, very good reason, to blame Law very good reason in order to blame Law for that. I think so. I think it is almost assured at this point that Robin is going to get kidnapped in the future, and the secret alliance between and um and Law and Robin almost confirmed that now, but it's like it almost confirms that now, but it's going to have like and I think that's going to be the trigger of what's going to put this alliance either on the path of being dissolved, or at the very least there's going to be a very heavy amount of friction in the alliance that's going to come from this, I think. um with that said, you all know my thoughts on Yamato, and I have been slowly warming up to her with these past couple chapters. But this chapter, I am now officially a fan, and it's not that I necessarily hated her. I was just waiting for her to do something that was worth talking about. And with this chapter, oh boy, do we get all of that and more. But more specifically, we get more of how much Yamato is willing to sacrifice herself in order to not only ensure Momonosuke survives, but that Oden's entire legacy exists in his retainer, in his retainers as well. Like she like with Yamato right now, she's basically saying, "I'm not going to die. I'm not going to let anyone die either." And it's showing how dedicated that Yamato is in order to restoring the Kozuki legacy, and how at the same time how dedicated she is in order to seeing that with her own eyes as well. So it's kind of a thing where she's both being selfless and selfish at the same time. Uh, the one she's also doing this because Yamato believes that as we learned through Yamato's words, she believes that Momonosuke is the only one to lead Wano into a new dawn. So it also so with Yamato saying that to Momonosuke, that feels like Oda's way of alluding to the idea that the Kozuki are the only ones capable of truly reopening Wano to the world. I mean, in his own corrupt way, Orochi did this, but it also like it's almost like there are certain things that even he couldn't do that only the basic the French clan of Kozuki are capable of which is building on the common belief that truly reopening Wano does also have something to do with Joy Boy as well. So yeah, it's all starting to kind of connect in some way. Of course, ideology aside, that's not the only reason to love Yamato in this chapter, because, like I said, she was kicking some legitimate ass in this, while still doing what Sasaki had mocked her for, which is protecting Momonosuke and Shinobu. Like, she pretty much, like, one thing I really love about her in this chapter is, Yamato in this chapter, is she found a way to use this situation to her, even the most dire situation, to her advantage, to both protect and fight at the same time, which is nothing new, as we've seen Luffy do that countless times. But I love in this instance how much of a spin in the face it is to punish Sasaki, as well as a total reinforcement of the idea that Yamato refuses to do anything Oden wouldn't do, which honestly just pushes me even more to say that she pretty much needs to become one of Momonosuke's retainers if she makes it as alive, because everything that Yamato has done is pretty much what Odin has done in the past, but at the same time, this time, unlike Odin, who kind of let his guard down, or let himself be consumed or something, or let himself get captured or whatnot. In this one, Yamato actually has the strength in order to stand her ground, in order to protect those things, even if it puts her in a dire situation. Um, Now, with that said, there are two things to talk about. First is that with Kaido having taken down the samurai, it's now a race against the clock for Luffy to reach Kaido before Big Mom does. Because unless this is a precursor for Big Mom's intent to betray Kaido, Luffy's going to have a fucking hell in a handbasket kind of struggle to take out both warlords. However, this chapter also leads to something I have been thinking about ever since chapter 990, which is that I feel more confident than ever in saying that chapter 1000 is going to have everyone under the sun, or however many players we know are involved in this, pretty much come everyone from Big Mom and Kaido, Luffy and the Straw Hats, the Marines of Sword, led by Cody, and the Samurai. I think Chapter 1000 is going to have all these players come together and collecting in one place in order to fight probably Big Mom and Kaido, I think. Or just Kaido, I don't know. Again, it depends on what Big Mom's planning right now. I feel at this point that that's the only big that's the big thing that Oda's planning for Chapter 1000. The only way I see it not being that is if Oda only takes like the base idea of that concept and still somehow and comes up with a completely different route of how to escalate the insanity. But it's like there isn't a whole lot of things I can think of what else that this could be culminating to. Like it has to be at Chapter 1000. Like it has to be a total fucking war kind of war, like total like clash of different total clash of different players coming together. That's the only thing that makes sense to me right now. The other thing, and now, having said that, there's one other thing we need to talk about, and it's something where I'm going to go on a bit of a rant, which is the last page of the chapter, where we see Sanji overhearing some very lewd things, and him kind of having some very lewd thoughts. And this is one of those things where I'm choosing to reserve complete judgment until the next chapter. But having said that, I have to say, just with that one page, Oda is really making it extremely difficult to defend him from people who say that he hates Sanji, because this is just this is the kind of shit that makes people say why Oda hates Sanji. I basically get that it's kind of like a quirk of his, but if you overplay that quirk, it gets to a point where people will start to fucking hate. It leads to the kind of hate that Sanji gets now, and if anything, depending on what happens next chapter, it's only going to justify all that hate. So unless Oda is planning unless Oda is planning some kind of comedic reversal here, it's not going to go over well at all. Like I'm only hoping and I'm only praying that he's got that, like I said, he's got something else. He's got some kind of reversal idea plan. But aside from that, this is not that just one page alone is not a good look for Sanji. So yeah, just fingers crossed that Oda does something with this, something meaningful with this. But yeah, guys, that's all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Lester Crunchyroll. Dead9 signing off. Later, guys.